Look at this, Brandon. Look at this. We're in the pre-show.
Ooh, the pre-show.
It's been so long since I've been in the pre-show. I don't even know if it's working. I have no clue. Hey, Brandon, why don't you help me out for a frickin' change, and go out there on the internet, see if you can see if this is working.
I'm guessing on the Twitch, correct?
That would be one of them. Yes, it would, Brandon. On the Twitch.
It's been so long.
You don't even know where we're starting. It's the 2000 episodes. Just they don't even phase you. You know what I mean?
No. Well, we're live on Twitch. I see the support the show screen, so that's up.
And we are live on the YouTubes. Hey, what's up, RH?
This year has been a 84 long year, okay? So I've lost track of everything.
It's only been a year?
It hasn't even been a year. It's been like, what? We're in month 8? We're just starting month 8? Oh, man. But we're still kicking, relatively.
It's because I don't leave home.
Yeah, and then eventually diabetes take one of my legs.
Yeah. Do I get to pick the leg?
It's gotta be. My left one's already bad, so if I lose my right one, I'm wheelchair bound. It's done for.
Can we cremate your other the leg that you take? The leg that's
only if you snort it.
Hold on, but yeah. No. That's disgusting. What are you, Alex Jones? Look, no. What I'm saying is, can we take this leg that's gonna get lopped off, and maybe we put like in a Mooney doll or something like Mooney? Do they still do those Mooney dolls? You know those Mooney dolls, the little chibi dudes that you'd paint. See?
Gotcha. Oh, the money dolls.
Money dolls, yes.
Are they called? Are they money?
They're M-U-N-Y, so I don't know how you pronounce it. Mooney, money, whatever. Yeah, money dolls. They still make those? We can do that, right?
I don't know. They were a phase for a little while, weren't they? And then they just kind of left the world.
Hey, what's up, Crusher? I remember I had a backer. No, a backer, but a commission guy. Who's like, hey man, I want to see you paint this Mooney doll. I'm like, hey man, I don't paint. And he's like, yeah. I mean, just do what you ever do. I tried to do like a Casey Jones on it, man. It was horrible. And you got it back. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, I fucking told you I don't paint on money dolls. You know? Yeah. Sorry I let you down with the money. Speaking of money, pay me up. Pay up for that thing you didn't want. We're gonna start the show in a little bit, folks. I just gotta check and load up all the stuffs. Thank you. I haven't logged into Twitch in 30 days, so now everything's like, got to be double check. I thought I got everything set up, but apparently I did not.
We made it. What do? We made it here about 2 minutes into it before we went off the rails. That's a longest run we've done, I think, in a long time.
Bro, that's why we do the pre-show.
Right.
7. This is where all the shit that goes wrong before we start. See, I don't understand when people go, there's a pre-show, or it'll start in a little bit, and then and it's all quiet. Everyone gets in the room, it starts, and then it goes wrong. I'm like, isn't this what this is for? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like work it out. Do a little streaming in the pre-show, so you can fuck it all up. I don't even know why I load up the Twitch. People rarely get it. Only people ever show up there is like Ashley and her friends. So they're like, oh my god, Ron Street. That's it.
Which we appreciate.
Sure, we appreciate it. It's just a pain in my ass to set up.
Sounds about right.
I think I got that set up. Now, all I need to do is head over to here on the social medias. You know what? There's only so many. I think we got enough. Just want to get this going. Alright, everybody. What is that? Oh, I see. That's annoying. I turned off all fucking notifications, and it still wants to fucking notify me. You know?
You're doing good.
I'm not doing good. This is what happens. I get the new computer, shit just keeps fucking... See? Now there's now one of the drives wants to turn it on and off. Like, that's... So now it wants to... I haven't got... This is great. This is really great. I gotta fix this before we start, because if I start, this pisses me off so much. Now this is really pissing me off to no end. That right there. That little motherfucking sound. Alright, now I gotta pause and figure out what sound is doing this. And turn that off. None. We're doing a little technical stuff here, folks. Nope, that's not one. Nope, that's not the sound. And we're going to turn this one. This is so fucking dumb, dude. This is only happening now because life hates me. What is doing that? What is doing that, bro? Almost got it. It just started when we started streaming.
I mean, we're consistently bad.
I think when people go, hey, why don't you have a schedule? I'm like, what does it matter? It won't start when I start the schedule. I'll be like, Thursday at 4, and then we'll be here fucking around with this shit. Been doing this how many years now, Brandon? Several?
Oh, yeah.
Never fails, you know? Let me stop recording and see if that... It might be writing to a drive. It doesn't want to... Let me stop recording. No? I have a removable drive and it wants to constantly fucking tell me it's turning off and on when it isn't. I'm just trying to see, like, I've disabled the sound for it. Let me see if it pops up again. This is great, right? How do I feel about the PS5? I'll be pre-ordering. I don't care how much it costs. I get every PlayStation system, so I don't care. Alright. I don't hear it. Oh. Okay, I think I fixed it.
Yay!
Hey, I fixed it. Alrighty. When people fucking find this thing, they're gonna be like, there we go. So it's still going off for some stupid reason, but it's not making the sound because I disabled all the sounds. Alrighty. I don't know why it's doing that. All right, everybody, you could skip all this. We're gonna head to the art tips now. I got shit to do. Brandon, stop chewing on shit. I gotta hit the music. That's great. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Look how this is. Ah, oh, this is bane of my fucking life. Never fails, bro. Never fails. You see that? See that, folks? I'm leaving it all in because I don't even care. Like, this is. I set it all up. Everything worked fine. And it re-looped the video when I turned off loops. It turned off loops. Turn off loops. And look, it loops is back on. That's great.
And your Twitch title for this is Commish Dev inking Mando Craft.
I typed in. That's great because I typed in. Oh, you mean for the Twitch, right?
For the Twitch.
Yeah, I can't change that. Yeah, I don't. That's a whole. That's a restream thing. It's a restream issue, dude. Restream is controlling what Twitch says my videos are. Look, folks. Let me give you guys, before we get into this perspective shit, because I could care less how long this takes. I do get questions. I get questions like, why don't I do a Patreon or maybe charge for subscriptions or memberships or something? And one of the things you got to remember is that nothing ever goes right for me. So like, if I did all this and then people were like, hey man, I pay for this shit, I'd just be like, don't pay for it. I wouldn't. You know, like, so yeah, I just can't, Brad. I just can't, you know. So frustrating. But to be fair, to be fair, this is exactly what it's like when you show up to a class, you know, to like a college class, and you're like, it's fucking 2 hours of this, you know, just trying to get started. How much am I paying for this? $1,100? No, you know, that kind of shit. So what are we gonna talk about? Brandon, I told you that I would not be doing art tips unless I felt I had something new to share, right?
Correct.
So recently I've been doing these warm-ups before I start drawing. Perspective warm-ups. Now, you can use this in your art, most definitely, but it's not really the reason why I do them. And I've been doing them, I don't know, I do them on my free time for a while, for years and years and years. They just don't impress anybody. But recently people have been wondering, how do you draw such weird perspective? The reason why I do this stuff, you can see here, I keep all my sketches now in these little removable sleeves, by the way. So, because I hate drawing in sketchbooks. Like, I hate drawing in sketchbooks. So I'll pull all this stuff out. So I can just draw on copy paper and shit and put it in there. So I do this stuff here. Let me kind of follow you along. I do this stuff here as a way to open up my mind. This is like a nice... It's not so much like reminding myself how to draw perspective. It's to train my brain to not see a flat piece of paper. It's to see into the paper. So, case in point, there's a little sketch where, you know, you can do this extreme perspective and then you kind of see down into like this cavern and it kind of plops back up. These are just things that I started doing way back in college, you know, to bring up the whole college thing, because I can draw these anywhere, you know. I wouldn't use the markers half the time because I didn't have them with me, so I would go back and add that later for fun, like on my lunch break at Kinko's or something. But I'd keep these around, even at Kinko's. I'd be doing these all night in between shit to do. So when I tell a lot of you know, artists who ask me how to learn perspective, and I say, hey, you know, I would really go check out Scott Robertson's Gnomon DVD set, The Fundamentals of Perspective. Scott Robertson, you know, I've put these links before many times. I'll put it back in. Scott Robertson's a genius illustrator and a much better teacher of fundamental perspective than I am. However, it's extremely technical. right, Brandon?
Oh yeah.
And so what generally happens is people watch and go, ah, my head hurts, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that's it. Your head's going to hurt. And
Yeah.
you're going to have to do it extremely technically for a long time. I did technical perspective with the intention to make a living. I started in 1998. I was always good at basic perspective in high school. I do want to preface that. So we would do these perspective boxes, and I would always make box on boxes on boxes and throw things into perspective. So I always got it, but I didn't say, okay, I need to really start seeing into a void until 1998. And then the Scott Robertson DVDs didn't appear till 2004. So let's count, right? I got a hand here, right? Let's go 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. That's like 6 years, right? Before I even learned the Scott Robertson stuff. And then I had to start back over and do it his technical way. And I'm going to just give you a brief I've done a perspective video, folks, too, on the Art Tips playlist. So there is a fundamentals to perspective where I break it down the easiest fucking version that there is. I've already got it on there. So so much so that nobody is impressed with the thumbnail art when I says perspective. And I intentionally made it look really blobby and simple because it can't look intimidating. You know, you got to look at it and go, oh, I can do that. Fucking this guy's working on Crash. Like, a fucking dude can't draw. So the trick here is to present this in a way that you aren't intimidated by it. I could go here and draw. The Scott Robertson way is like, you could come here. Let me use a pen because pencils don't show up. Let me move this down. Right. So would be things like finding center, and then once you find center, being able to like draw into perspective, and then you can like do this thing where if you find center to perspective, you'll know where your center line is on anything that receives into perspective. And let's see, it's like this stuff. And then you'd be able to find ellipses forever and ever into perspective. It's very technical. Very technical. Mm-hmm. Brandon, I made you do it for years, right?
And it
still don't get
gives me a migraine every time.
Yeah, you still don't. I made you start really around 2016. And you still barely.
I don't want to argue it because I feel like the years have gone by. So I'll just say yes.
Right. So this very technical way of doing perspective. Wait, Brandon, go ahead.
The thing about it though is I may not be able to do it like, you know, obviously you can, but after watching those things like that, I can now see better into shapes. So maybe my construction isn't at that par, but it really does help you just go into be able to see things, you know, see into the object, see the way the curvature is, or then you get to look back at your old art and see, oh man, that the curve of the belt would have went around his waist, not just flat. That logo on his chest would wrap around the chest. The wheels on the tank, you can see the inside cylinder. So, you know, maybe I can't do it like you're doing right now perfectly, but you start to see the objects better just from, you know, mental memorization.
Yeah, and then Scott will show you how to do things like how to parallel lines to the point where you can duplicate a drawing over to the other side and perfect construction. I don't really care for perfect. I've done it. I've done all the technical stuff. I got the rulers, the ellipse tools out. I've done all that stuff. Did it for hardcore for about 2 years. And then I learned to just do it by hand because there's a few reasons for that. One, I'm never going to get a job drawing cars in the automotive industry. So like super technical drawings don't help me. Two, in comics, it's better to have a lot more energy. And let's say concept art comics, anything that requires to get the sense of animation in a drawing, I need more energy. And super technical illustrations don't do that. They look amazing to look at. You want to put them on your wall. Scott Robertson's work is brilliant. I just look at it like, motherfucking this guy, you know? Right. But it's not necessary. What you really need to do is train your brain to see everything into perspective. Like when I look at this piece of paper, and by the way, I recycle all my paper. So if you're wondering, am I wasting? No, I buy recycled paper and I recycle this shit back. So like when I see let me open this up. So when I see this paper, I don't see a flat piece of paper. Like I see literally a small point somewhere here. Now you look at this and you see that's a little drawing of a cross, right, Brandon? I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that. What I see is a volume, a three-dimensional volume that recedes into perspective. And these volumes have surfaces. They're actually three-dimensional. See, I can cut that out and make a wall, right? I can come here and do this. I can see an angled school system failed, Rob. Angled surface, right? There's three-dimensional items, three-dimensional spheres underneath this stuff, right? There's stuff back here. You know, there's it goes up, and then now this maybe this comes back this way, and then over here is a cylinder going into same perspective. So this is ultimately what I see. And then to make it a little, I draw with these pens so I can't erase. Like that's one of the first things I spent a lot of years teaching myself was erasing is like, when you're trying to learn stuff, it doesn't help because you're spending all your time trying to perfect a drawing. So if I just come here and use a thicker marker, I used to use a Sharpie, but now I don't have to inhale that shit, so I'm just using a Pitt pen. I can come here and just outline these basic shapes. So why am I going over all this? To say, oh, look what I can do, you can't do it. Well, to show off, because I know you can't. No. The reason why I'm doing this is to say that until you really get to this point of being able to do this, right, to see this way, like, you don't see me, Brandon, getting that, see all those videos, like a guy gets a string and he's like, you know what I mean, doing this crazy. There's no trick to this. There's no trick. You literally have to do the work to the point where you see this way before you can do what I'm going to teach you all how to do. But I do feel like sometimes when I'm talking to Brandon, it's like a Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi fucking Daniel LaRusso thing where Brandon goes, well, what's this all for, man? I don't really see what this shit's for. I mean, I get what it's for, but I don't see how this is teaching me how to fucking sweep the leg, you know? So
that's exactly how I sound.
Yeah, that's what I hear, you know? That's what I hear. So I'm going to show you where all this can lead, you know, if you apply yourself, why it's worth it. So let's recycle that piece of paper. Any questions, folks, before we get into this? Yes, I'm using a special perspective pencil. This is the Copic perspective pencil. Sorry, this is the Sharpie perspective pencil. It's available only through my links at dickblick.com. You won't receive the pencil in the mail. It'll just be a note reminding you to learn perspective. So I'll just keep all the proceeds though.
There you go.
Paint the fucking fence, right, Psycho? So, all right. So now that we have that established, we all know Rob knows how to do base. Can you see the drawings, by the way? Am I close enough?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So, I'm just going to show you how I warm up because, right? Prudence goes, if only there was a perspective pencil. Don't worry, they'll sell you on this shit.
Right.
And look, if you're a digital only artist, learn this too, because it's always going to help. When you look at your computer screen, you're still going to see into a void. And even if Clip Studio Paint or Procreate helps with your perspective, and yes, it is helpful. Let me tell you right now, if you ever have to sit next to a fucking art director or a salesperson who wants to clown you like, well, he just uses the computer, then you draw this shit and they shut the fuck up. Like, this sort of shit is how I always got sales reps in art departments at t-shirt companies to leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Like, you do this. And I would just keep these by my desk. I would just be sketching these in my free time. You know? So like, I know you all think like I'm just a button clicker, but you know I'm fucking not. All right. So, but you're definitely pushing my fucking buttons. So, you know, I still got a little bit of fight in me, folks. Right? I haven't got rid of it yet. Can't tell you how good it feels to be around someone that makes a reference like paint the fence. Right. We all know it. Especially now with Cobra Kai Season 3 coming up. Alrighty. Can we get started? I think we can get started. So, let me tell you what I typically do. When I wake up and I want to just bang my head. Well, first I bang my head against the desk, right? I just go, oh, you know, I go, I'll do it for you. I go, I don't want to draw. Then I get drawing. So sometimes you can put on some music. I like listening to Studio Ghibli beats, which I would play now for you all, but I actually want to monetize this video, so
Right.
I'm not doing that. But I am listening to it in my earpiece on my phone while we talk. So if you'd like to check out, there's a Studio Ghibli beats. That's what I listen to. There's a couple of those. There's a 3.5 hour long one and a 90-minute one. I flip between the two because I know the music. All right, and it's super chill. And then what I start doing is you can do one of two things. Like you can come here and do something like this, right? This. Sometimes I'll start like this and then construct something out. And what I'm trying to do is not draw things super technically, right? I'm trying to constantly give it a sense of curvature and depth, a little bit more like the world, like a lens would do. It had a little bit of curvature. And then watch what I'm going to do this. Now I could take this and parallel it and make it like a wall, right? Or I can recede it into a viewpoint that I just gonna arbitrarily say is here, and then create this dynamic effect. So I just created a viewpoint that's there. Now what I'm gonna do is say, let's say that's the street, right? I'm gonna create another viewpoint, right? And then I can come back here, and I can go this way, I can curve this way, or I can curve this way. So you can curve whichever way you want. I'm going to curve this way and sort of parallel that to an extent. I want to find center. Center's, the way I do center is I always try to find a little bit off center. So it's never directly in the center. It's a little bit off. So with this line here, I could take this. Let's say I want to go. So I'm actually going to take this and it'll lead me towards something that's zigzagging into perspective.
You are a madman, sir.
You see that? You see it now, right?
Yeah.
But did you see it before?
No.
No, you just saw the outlines. You didn't see the volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ocular perspective. You're not always going to use ocular or curvilinear perspective when you draw, because let me tell you right now, it's gonna fucking wig people out. All right, like, and the more you draw like Spider-Man or a Batman in that perspective, looks like awesome, you know, Gainax Studio Trigger style Gurren Lagann anime, awesome fucking poses. But the average art director or licensor is gonna be like, his hand would not be that big, you know, like it's fucking called foreshortening, motherfucker. But they don't get it. But what this does is it trains my brain. Like I'm already starting to see things. I can take this and just watch this. I've got this, and then I'm just going to parallel this into perspective and just keep curving. I'm going to curve and bend, watch like this, and then loop around. And then take this and just drop it straight down. And I could have kept spiraling that if I wanted to, right?
Right.
I could take this, continue this. So now I have two crazy ass perspectives literally jumping right on top of one another. You know? And you see both, right? And this is where you just gotta like, you use this stuff. And yeah, you know, you can use this stuff in the layouts, you know, and you can be like, this little piece would look great for a commission. Like, it would. But see, like this is a cube, but I've curved these surfaces so it's more dynamic, right? It's trippy. So you start to see this stuff all the time, all the time. And to make it a little easier to see now, because I know it's getting a little crazy on that page, I'm just going to take some simple Copic. I use warm grays. They're simple Copic, right? Marketing director just simply skin moles that become self-aware. Then let's not be mean to skin moles, right? It's a little mean to skin moles. So what we're just going to do is just shade some surfaces so that we can see stuff. I'm not trying to win a rendering fucking award here. So I'm going to use a 7, a 5, and a 3. So I'm going to use the 7 for what's closest to me. And then why don't we just take a 5. We can pick a 3. We can use 3 as like a cast shadow of some sort. Let's see if it's which way it would kind of be coming this way. Shit, I fucked up the light sources. Oh well. It's not a light. That's why I say it's not really a light source trick. It's just so I can see the surfaces.
Right.
This is a training to see surfaces. Now, you probably ask yourself, Rob, why is this important to learn how to see surfaces? Well, you know, like when I'm doing that like lasso tool rendering on the Boba Fett, that's because I'm doing that all over surfaces. I'm taking a flat piece of drawing and making everything a surface. Can't wait to see what you did for Crash War. Yeah, I'm not really in the art book much. I got one spot. So a lot of what I did was for stuff that they didn't put in the art book. So I have a bigger presence in the Spiral art book, though.
It's kind of like you know, you open the yearbook thinking you're in there a bunch, and you're only in there like once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the way it worked out.
One thing, you know, and speaking of the Mando piece, you know, where you say you're working in surfaces, that really helps, you know, push shapes forward, backwards, and just adds depth to the art. That, you know, even if, how do I put this? Sometimes even if you're having trouble building the shapes, you know, just doing simple lighting and seeing how the structures curve, you know, just helps you. I don't know how to word that right. Let me see here. It's been a while since we did these videos where I have to
Brennan has
think
to
about
say things that are in his head. And we all know how that goes.
dirt words. What I mean is, you know, the construction and you know how to make good construction. And once you do that, you can build shapes upon it and upon it. But also doing things like this with the lighting just really helps people see how the shapes move and turn. Like, so you can see the darker side obviously is the shadow part where the light's not hitting it. So that forces your brain to see the top half, you know, the non-colored in part as the top surface. So even if like people are having trouble seeing this spiral grid right now, once you're putting in colors and shapes, it goes, oh, okay, that's the top level and that's the dark side of it. So it just helps. Let's just edit that whole garbage mouth thing I just said right there, but someone will get it. Someone will be like, yeah, man, that makes sense. I get it.
We should start a whole new series, Word Salad with Mega Potato. Mega Potato. Brandon doesn't put raisins in his potato salad, he puts words.
I do. I'm going to say this and regret saying it, but let's listen to Mega Potato toss his salad words.
Oh, no. It's too easy. See, that kind of humor is too easy, Brandon. Yeah. So, I wouldn't normally shade this much, but I just want to show you how it would spiral down there.
Wasting ink.
It's just, yeah, it's just wasting ink. Plus, I like to leave those surfaces for drawing characters that stand out. So, you go, but Rob, that isn't what you did the other day. You did a bunch of those little ones. I'm like, yeah, I can do that too. We're going to do it right now. So, let's just take something like this. And then I want to create like a loop. I'm going to come here little bit more exaggerated this way. And then now when I tend to do this, I have my right eye closed. There's no real reason for that other than I naturally do it. And I looked it up, and they say sometimes it helps to eliminate the depth because you see a little flatter. It's weird because I'm using it to see more depth. I don't know. It's just something I do. I asked my doctor about it to see if it's a problem. He said no. My eye doctor, before all this COVID shit went down, and they're like, no, it's fine. Incomplete Hot Wheels track. Again, this is just to fucking. It has no meaning for what it is. It's really just to open my mind up.
Right.
And to feel no pressure to do any kind of like. You go, but Rob, to do anything kind of finished. So then you could say, all right, how do you draw characters though, Rob? How does this help? Well, look, I can have a little dude be like, I'm trying to get up. Help. Help. And then he goes, no, and he falls down. Poof. Right?
Aww.
And then let's just take this. Let's take that scene and go. Let me show his face. He's like, no, Hans Grubered, right? Die Hard.
I hate that your stupid little sketch is better than most of my art.
And then we come down here, and we can go, right? Poof. We just go, that's the scene there. Help! And this guy over here, let's say there's like, a superhero guy, like a cape. He's like, I could totally save you, but I won't.
Yeah.
In fact, give him a thumbs up. Good job, bro. And then he's like, the fuh.
It never fails for our stream to go dark.
Right. And you think the poof was him, but boosh! Here comes fucking, let's see if I can get this. Probably not the right run pose, but you get the idea. Not the bed. No, that's not it. See? My mind isn't. That's why I try to draw with the red first. Let's try it again. Here's a cool thing you can do. When you draw with pens, you can just put one sheet of paper over, and you can see without having a light board. See, it'd be one of those extreme perspective foreshortening things. He's got the dude by the hand. This is one of those things that my typical sketches look like this, and then I'll take this and work it out. So this is why I try not to focus so much on drawing perfectly, like when I'm working on this stuff. It's so that, again, I can just see it. Once I see it, I can refine the drawing, take the idea in, and actually work out the perspective and actually refine it. You have any questions, Brandon, about this? Like,
if I did this nonstop every day, how long would it take for me to be at this level?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. And this is why I always got really frustrated with colleges, art schools, is because they go, well, we're going to teach you perspective in 11 weeks. I'm like, first off, you're not going to learn it in 11 weeks. You're going to learn of it in 11 weeks. But two, it could take someone 3 years. It could take someone 6 months.
Right.
You know? Like,
I'm on that 3-year plan.
Like, to see a box like this. To just see it, you know? And then to go, you know, I don't know, like, tubes. You can do tubes. But I do this for at least, I don't know, 30 minutes or so before I start my day. This is why I like, for a long time, people are like, hey man, you got a sketchbook? I'm like, they wouldn't look like any fucking thing you'd ever want to buy. You know? Like, unless it's in context, you know? It's not really something that impresses people. Because I don't use my sketchbooks to, like, draw really cool shit that then I go, look at this amazing fucking shit I drew. I use them to really work out ideas or to train my brain to see a certain way. So you could do your Sonics. They can, you know, jump over here and then, you know, and then come back around and be like doing the little peace sign behind Superman's fucking head. You know. So a lot of my like pages that you see from Game Cave that I post up are me figuring this stuff out, you know, like in a similar form before I go draw it. But this is like one of those things, folks, where like if you don't understand this, if you don't even go down the path of trying to, then like you're just forever going to be that, you know, you're going to be stuck in that phase where it's like, here's my, you know, you're just drawing endless cross hatchings or pouches or whatever you want, details to make your characters look cool.
Right.
You know, here's all this, you know, anatomy, draw anatomy. Here's where I draw people's faces, and I draw from faces and everyone looks cool. Like, I get it, but like, what happens when you got to make changes or invent a shot that doesn't exist?
Right.
You know. You know, and these poses are always like negotiable. Like you go, well, this wouldn't really work, and then you go and take a photo or watch some fucking UFC, and then go, okay, what pose would work, and then how can I take that pose and rotate it into perspective? How can I take this and squish it down, enlarge it? You know, take it and use a transform tool where it's more like this. You could do that. You know, you can make it super. Like here, I would imagine the foreshortening have to be really small, have to be really extreme to make it work. Like I always worry about doing it in commissions because people are like, the leg got short. Sometimes people can't see it, you know, that they just can't see the extreme foreshortening. That's why I tend to keep it simple with commissions because it's gonna sit on your wall. And, you know, I guess I just don't feel people paid me to draw a giant hand in their face.
Right.
I mean, I love when Eric Larson does it, but you know, like when 90% of the commission's a giant fist, I think people get a little. You know. All right, everybody. So we did this now. We've been doing this for what, an hour or so?
Yeah. Give or take.
Okay, now's the time for any questions because I'm not making another video on this. Any questions, anybody? Anyone got any questions they want to ask? We'll give it a few minutes. Brandon, do you have anything to add?
Nothing that'll ever sound good or make sense.
Just go slow. Like, don't sit there and try to fight it. Like, go slow and just start small. You know? What?
No, I just. It's gonna be tedious. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be boring. It's not gonna get you likes, but it's gonna help you. You know, it's like when you have me draw those dots and those lines. You know, it sucks and they're tedious, but when I need to draw a straight line, I can ghost it. You know, and I can do it a lot better than I used to be able to compared to before. My lines were all jaggy and bad. You know, so. It's just like this. This is tedious. You're not going to get 1,000 likes on Instagram for it.
I guarantee you won't.
Yeah, but it's going to help you in the long run.
It's the only way, Brandon.
It is the way.
It is the only way. About anything. Yeah, sure. Any questions? Because I'm not gonna be doing art tips. So if you got an art tip centric question, great. If you want to ask me about PS2, just wait till or PS5, just wait till I stream some commission art. So.
I got a question. So when you're doing stuff like this, like right now, have you ever boxed yourself in a corner with the perspective on an art piece, and then you're like, oh shit, you know, like if you're going, see how you keep going and you're going and stuff, but have you ever gone to where you kind of boxed yourself in, and then you're like, that doesn't work?
Yeah, just start somewhere else. Like if I was boxed here, I could.
Have you ever done it on a piece though where you couldn't go back, like if it was a commission or like a pencil sketch type thing where you're just like, ah, shit? Or you've always been able to just kind of work your way out of it?
No, I mean, sometimes you run out of space on a paper, bro, which is why I prefer to have an idea before I start. I just don't go in someone's sketchbook like, I'll just fucking draw my shit because I'm fucking Rob Liefeld and I can just fucking crosshatch my way out of it, you know? Like, no, dude. Like, it's also why I freak over, like, drawing in people's fucking sketchbooks. 'Cause I have to sit there, and you see me, like, I sit there with special, separate paper working out what I'm going to do before I do it. You know, because I'm an iterative artist. I'm not a fucking... Iterative artist means I iterate. Like, I start with something, and then I work, and I work, and I work. I'm not a person like you, those dudes that could just sit down there and just fucking draw everything perfectly the way it exists, and, you know?
Right.
Like, I start with an idea, and then, like, I develop it. You know? So, let's see here. Nelson says he likes the silhouette trick, but sometimes you can't find your shapes and lines in them. What are you doing wrong? So, alright, so the silhouette trick really isn't a trick. What it is, do I have... I got... It's being able to quickly, like, build things, especially in a perspective, without fucking me sitting here. See, I'm doing it right now. Let's say I can have a reverse shot. This is going to be like a Deadpool dude with swords. Now, if you're like, I can't know what to put in him, then take a separate piece of paper and do research. Do a basic design of, like, what do I want this character to wear? Like, what would they... Shit. It'd be nice if I actually had a red pen. You could come here and be like, they would have shoulder pads. You know, you can do little, like, gestural pen sketches and figure out what you want that silhouette character to have before you start. But if you can't see into it, then, you know, perhaps you should be doing more gestural drawing first. So gestural drawing is where you look at actual figures, poses, people, whatever. You can use photos on Shutterstock. And then you time yourself. You draw an action line. I'm not looking at anyone, so I can't really... This is not a good idea. But you draw an action line and actually redraw what they're doing in a certain amount of time. So in life drawing classes, we would do that in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds. And the model we'd have a physical model, and that model would move on the dot, so you'd lose it. So it would train you to get the gesture down. But the rebuilding of things three-dimensionally is what you're trying to do inside... let me get this white pen. Inside these, like, silhouettes. Like, so... I can use a white pen here. I would just go back and do more perspective until you start to see things, man. Put characters in there, you know? Or maybe it doesn't work for you. But gestural drawing and the silhouette drawing I use hand in hand. It's like your gestural drawing will help you develop energy and action lines. Silhouette drawing just saves me... I'm doing... What happens is I'm doing all these steps at once with the silhouette. You know, it's easier to draw smaller because it's a tiny little dude. But now watch this. This can go one of two ways, this blob. This can go down here into perspective where these shoulders are wide and this head comes here, right? You see that, Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that? Or, watch. Now I'm gonna fuck your head up. It can go up where the head's up here looking down at you. Right?
Yeah.
Weird how that just flipped. So this just allows me to get foreshortening and a lot of things down without spending a ton of... Look at all those lines it took to get that gestural, right? But because I understand the gestures to begin with, I can do that. So the chances are, you know, you probably have to go back to basic construction gestural so that you see those things before you ever do this stuff. Because it's not really it's not a trick. It's just an easier way to not have to, for me, to not have to do a ton of lines that I'm not going to keep. That makes sense. In our chat and Discord, someone asked us, how do you draw thick anime girls? Like, dude, just go in the corner over there and practice your Dragon Punch. It's 5 years. Yeah. 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 But, like, this silhouette, do you know about... God, fuck, the thing's blobbing. See? Doesn't help. There, I got that blob out. Let's get rid of that. So, if you don't see this center line, right? And you don't know that there's a center line here and there's these elements that go over it, then, like, you're never going to see anything. You're trying to, like, again, trick's a good word because you're trying to trick your way through it. You have to actually see all that stuff. Those three-dimensional bits that are in there. How they flow into perspective. And man, like, I want to be honest, folks, like, let's say it did take you 7 years. It took me, you know, really, before I could make money off it, you know, 7 years. 7 years of my life. Like, didn't you learn it? If it took me 7 years, probably because no one ever explained it to me. You know what I mean? It ain't going to take you 7 years. Because you'll have this video and I've explained it to you. But you got to do it. Like, there's just no... There is no substitute for doing the work. That's it. And the longer you take to get started on doing the work, the longer it's going to take to get the work done. I know it seems so basic, but all these... I see these... I spend money on, like, different types of tutorials, not because I want to learn from them so much. I want to see, can I learn from them? And sometimes there's one or two things I can pull from. Anything from Schoolism to Domestica to Gnomon, you name it. My wife, she yells at me, you spent like $300 this year on tutorials. And I'm like, and I probably learned very little, you know? Because a lot of them don't, there's some good ones out there, but a lot of them really are showing you what they're doing at the level which they learn how to do it, right? And then how to get there really always just comes back down to learn how to do the construction and the perspective really non-creatively, really technically, really unfun-like, and then test yourself. Can I take, instead of doing a 1 to 2 perspective where you go like this and here's my box, you know, here's the box, 2-point perspective, can I take that surface, right, bend it, and then, okay, look, I paralleled the lines, so it's got some perspective, it's kind of trippy. You show this to your friends and they go, oh, weird fucking box. But let's take that same idea, right, and what if you just, watch this, just really pin it down. So now it's like super dynamic. Here's a cash shadow, right? Just to kind of help sell it. And look, if I can do this right here like this, Lord knows you can do this at work if you got it, you know, if you got an essential worker's job. You know, you don't have to be like, I gotta make an hour's worth of time every day when I come home. I never had, look, when I was in art college, I went to the Art Institute in San Diego. It was a complete fucking waste of my life, and I knew it. But I was already in it, and I was like, and I was one of those guys who was like, you can never quit. Well, I take it back. You can quit, and you should quit as soon as possible if you know you're wasting $70,000. Or I thought at the time 40, but it kind of cost me 70. But when I was at the Art Institute, I had a full-time 40 to 50-hour a week job at Kinko's. I just worked at night. So I would get 1 to 2 hours sleep before class, 1 to 2 hours sleep after class. And I would shower at a gym. And I had an apartment that was an hours away, and I wouldn't get to go to my apartment until the weekends. Or if I had a day off during the week, because Kinko's, sometimes they throw your hours around. But I always worked the nights at Kinko's. So, and this is all I would do. It would trip people out because in college, I would just not get, they would always try to put you in competitions. And so, like, it would be like, oh, well, Rob just does that weird perspective shit. They'd see me doing this all the time, or they'd see me doing the dots. And this impressed nobody, But I was trying to come out of there a better illustrator so that I could take all the ideas in my head. Let's say I wanted to have a little spaceship. I have a spaceship flying around this building, I could take all the ideas in my head and be able to draw them out. And the silhouettes were a way of me saying, okay, look how many lines it takes to get a figure, right? But I don't got fucking 30 minutes to do that. So instead, I can, let's just take a marker, because I did spend money on, they weren't Copics at the time, it was Prisma markers or whatever. So, I could take the marker, let's just do a simple pose. Won't do nothing big, like a Wolverine kind of thing, Just quickly blob in a shape, And then I can come there and do a bunch of those, and then on my lunch break, when I got some free time, let me use a red pen. So I can come here and practice my shapes. And take that anatomy I learned and actually do a little action figure like. But even this stuff wasn't impressing anyone in my school. It wasn't impressing anyone on the art boards. I didn't get one job offer from this. One commission. This is kind of a basic 90s pose, right? But you get the idea, And I can use that as a basis. So I would say, okay, that's my basic idea, but I got to really push this. And this is where digital art allowed me to then go and push this idea further. Like, okay, I got that basic idea, but let me blob in, because it's way easier to blob stuff in Photoshop or Procreate, whatever you want to do, than it is with markers. I can just blob in different ideas and then take this basic idea and work it out even further. Or I could pose and take a photo and then use my knowledge of twisting perspective or changing perspective to take that pose that's kind of basic and then go, okay, how can I take that basic pose, something like that, and then what would be, if it was down, like a high angle looking up. There's my center line. I know I got arm here. And this goes back this way. And the leg would come back like this. And the hand would come this way. And this would be behind him a bit, so you probably wouldn't see a lot of that. So you don't even need, once you get to a certain level, you don't even need the exact photo to be what you're not copying a photo of reference. You're literally, it's reference. Oh, I got a person who posed like that, but I need a different angle. I need this angle, that angle, this angle, that angle. And look, like this sort of thing, I don't know how to create. I've thought about this a million ways, Brandon. And I've told you, like, we could do something like Sketchcraft 101 where I try to take people from the basics to like, man, fuck, I don't know. Like, I got 1,000 videos where I'm doing this shit in real time, And I'm here to help you all, like, in a way to be like, look, here's a way to do it very simply. Literally, it's just a fucking black marker and some white pen, red pen, black pen. However long it takes you to get there, though, is your journey. I do not know. If you don't do it, though, then, like, I don't know how to help. Remember I told you, Brandon? I was like, look, man, I only know one way of getting there, and it's fucking not the easy, fun way. You know? It's just not. And then once you get all this down, then you got to work on, like, well, how do I draw, like, poses and shapes and figures that are fun? Like, how do these poses and shapes and figures then get people's attention? And I don't know. It constantly changes. You know, there's just so many different levels to all this that the best way to do is to start with, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, how can I get there? If you're drawing a basic comic book, a fan comic, if it's a fan comic or you're even your own indie comic, how would it not help, Brandon, to be able to say, man, I could draw like this literally could be an L train, right?
Mm-hmm.
With, like, you know, coming around in perspective, and here's the guy. Oh my god, there's a dude up here, and there's all these ninjas coming to fight this dude. Like, how would it not benefit you to know how to do that? Whenever you want. You know? Sorry. And to get there really is just, it doesn't require hours a day. I mean, I didn't even have an hour a day. And I remember in college, there was an artist that I was friends with who, I don't like name dropping, but there was an artist I was friends with who'd go, man, every day I get up and I draw for an hour. I'm like, get up? You know, I sleep in my car, like literally outside the school. The security guard used to fucking knock on my window so I wouldn't die of inhalation, whatever that is. Yeah. They were always worried because I'd be in there with the AC on, or the heater on during the winter. So, like, I don't know, man. You know, this doesn't take that long to do, but it takes time. So my real big advice is, please, for the love of freaking all that is in the world, get started as soon as humanly possible. And then you will be able to create anything you want whenever you want. And then you can focus on style. Then you can be like, well, I like these shapes or that shapes, or I want to draw like mermaids. Great. But if you can draw mermaids in any perspective you want, how does that not make you a better artist? Right? You know? So that's it. Anything else, Brandon?
Nah.
You've been super quiet. All right, folks. I've ranted. I want to see all of you be able to do it. I don't think it's difficult. I think it just takes time and a little bit of, like, there you go. That's how you do it. And please go check on Scott Robertson. He has literally a YouTube channel. Scott Robertson, Gnomon. You can find his shit somewhere. He's got books. You can support him directly with his new books and his series. He's got a Gumroad. He's got all that stuff. You can learn that there. It will hurt your head. It will be super technical. It's painting the fence. It's stuff you're not going to want to do. I learned it without him. He helped clarify what I just learned on my own, right? Again, that's 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. That was 6 years before I found his shit. You know? So it really took me 8 because I spent another 2 years doing his. And then when I was able to combine it together, that's when I got my first, I got my first drawing job in 2005, but I got my first comics work in 2007 and 8. Actually, full-time 2008. But the recession hit and wiped out all my fucking work, so back to the drawing board. I can't teach you how to avoid financial ruin if in this country. You know what I mean? It's just too tough. It's beyond my scope. Beyond the scope of the channel. All right, everybody. I hope that somehow helped. You know, it's like the buffet. You take what you want, you leave the rest. But I did put it out here. It's a good discussion. We can have another one maybe in the future if something pops up. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Wait, take the best gems from different artists? That's not what I said. I didn't say take the best gems from a different artist. I'm saying if you want to learn the basics, I'm not a good instructor. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Brandon, tell everyone what it's like to learn from me. It's Cobra Kai. All right? I'm not Miyagi.
It's dictatorship.
Scott Robertson's a nice guy. And I think he's more qualified. I just don't think I'm qualified to teach people shit, man. I don't. I like to have discussions about it, but I'm not a good instructor. I don't enjoy it too much. So, but I